Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, not to forget that we actually provide you information with regards to sports from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That basically works both for Instagram and Twitter. Anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, Pakistan scored 324-7 against South Africa. Surely going to be an interesting ODI. And from the world of Champions League, Real Madrid scored 3-1 against Liverpool. And yes, from the world of NBA, Warrior beats Buck 122-121. And yes, those were the headlines. And not to forget, obviously, the series that is still underway. It's pretty interesting when it comes to Pakistan versus South Africa. Yes, the series is still on. And not to forget that Pakistan actually managed to score 320. It was a stunning performance. Not only at the end of it all, we actually were thinking maybe a lesser score, but it ended up being here. But there's more coming up because the series already tied between the Proteas and Pakistan. But anyways, to discuss this world of cricket, we have with us Mr. Hugh Tubberwell. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. So we'll start off with the current ODI that's underway. Obviously, Pakistan's batting lineup. We'll talk more about that. What's your take? How do you see the evolution? Obviously, it started off pretty neat, pretty decent, but with time, slowly and gradually, if you know, there was a collapse of wickets. That's like a usual, unexpected thing that you actually see from Pakistan.
Well, I love the Pakistan ODI team. I love that top three. Must be surely the strongest in world cricket, isn't it? With Iman Ul-Haq and Fakhar Zaman and Babar Azam. Yeah, I mean that front three. I mean, is extraordinarily strong, isn't it? I mean the openers, haven't perhaps quite cracked. Well, certainly with Imam, it hasn't quite cracked Test cricket yet. But in terms of ODI, those top three are extraordinarily strong. And you can imagine that if there was a World Cup coming up in the subcontinent, even sooner than the one that is coming up into 2023 in India, then Pakistan would be real hot favourites. So, right up there with the favourites, I think, with that formidable batting lineup. But yeah, in this current ODI, they did lose their way a little bit in the middle, didn't they? And Hassan Ali rescued things a bit with some brilliant hitting at the end.
Yeah, Hassan Ali actually changed the entire match because, everybody wasn't really expecting him to come up with those magical shots that he actually did. It kind of changed because I was still not sure that if Pakistan would cross 300 because of the fall of wicket, the collapse that we always have, the unexpectancy with regards to the midline batsman.
Yeah, well, usually he's a destroyer with the ball, isn't he? So, but he's turned it on with the bat this time, hasn't he?
Right.
We've seen a fair bit of him in England bowling very well, haven't we? And he was brilliant in the Champions Trophy in 2017.
Right.
That Pakistan won. So top cricketer, isn't he?
Right. So, how do you see this ODI situation? Because obviously it's currently tied, and we'll surely see another lineup. And we'll probably see, because South Africa obviously decided to bowl first because they have an idea that it would be easier for them to chase rather than making a target. So what's your take? How do you see the South African lineup that it would be very interesting for them to face Pakistani bowlers?
Yeah, well, I think about 320 is probably a par score, isn't it? I think it's 50-50 at the moment, isn't it? I think the first ODI was one with a score of 340, wasn't it? So yes. It's a good total, but Pakistan will have to bowl well. But they've, as we know, over the years, they've got the bowlers to turn things around, have lethal spells.
Right.
Let's keep our fingers crossed for them. But no, I think it's close at the moment, isn't it? 50-50.
Yeah, it's pretty much 50-50. Not to forget, I think when it was on Centurion, the first ODI that took place, and South Africa managed to score like 273, if I'm not wrong. And then the second match happened in which the 314 total was there, and this time it's 320, which kind of means that it's going to be very, very tricky, and there will be a lot of pressure on South Africa because this current match will be deciding their fate and the fate of the ODI situation.
Yes, the series, yeah, but ahead of the 4 T20s that are coming up. So, but no, it's been an interesting series, isn't it? Definitely, and that we've enjoyed. English viewers, or UK viewers have enjoyed very much. Been
Right.
some good cricket.
Let's hope that we take up to that level, the Pakistani lineup take up to that level. Let's talk about the consistency of Fakhar Zaman, because this is like the second match, the last ODI that actually took place. He managed to have 193, and right now we're looking at 101. What's your take on that one? Because last time, he's been a phenomenal batsman for us right now.
Well, you don't score 193 very often and end up on the losing side, do you? So he was very unlucky there, wasn't he? But no, his ODI record is absolutely magnificent. 500s, average of 48. I think, is this one his 50th ODI, or is he coming up to his 50th ODI? So as I said, that partnership with Imam ul Haq really has got to be right up there with the best in ODI cricket.
Right. Talking about not only this series, if we look back, because obviously South Africans must be having the edge of their home ground. If we look back into the situation, how the Proteas actually came to Pakistan, and if you remember, they lost the series. So how do you see that? Because for a touring country, for any touring nation that actually goes to another country, it becomes very technically hard for them going through the entire biosecure bubble situation. What's your take on that?
Yes, I'm not sure entirely what the situation's like in Pakistan, but it's very tricky for the modern day cricketer at the moment to have to put up with life in the bubble. It's blisteringly boring, isn't it, at times for them?
Right.
And they say that when results are going your way, it improves the situation. But no, particularly when you get on a roll and you suffer some defeats, or when you're struggling as a batsman, I imagine life is horrible, really. The touring life is sometimes it's very hard anyway, isn't it, when you're away from your family?
Right.
But the whole wonder of touring life is to experience the smells and the sounds and the tastes. And I've not been to Pakistan, but I would love to go because I'm a massive fan of your food. Right. And I imagine it's very frustrating not to be able to go to all the restaurants and taste the sheep kebabs and the deliciously marinated chicken that I'm such a fan of.
Absolutely. If you ever get a chance to come, you definitely love being in our country. That
sounds lovely. I love the Lahore restaurant in Aldgate East in East London. Apparently, it's where the Pakistan team come as soon as they arrive in England. So, it's my favourite. It's about my favourite food. So, no, anyway, but I mean, not being facetious, I mean, it is hard for a team on tour at the moment.
Right.
And let's hope that vaccines and things can improve the situation.
Right, because every nation has its own pros and cons with regards to the biosecure bubble. It's obviously, when it comes to Pakistan, the biosecure bubble situation is slightly on a lesser tone, or not on a stricter tone. But when it comes to Australia or when it comes to New Zealand, from what I know, and even England, obviously it becomes more and more hard. We had our PSL back then, and in our PSL, during that PSL situation, there was this coronavirus situation that actually came into being. But now, we intend to continue with that in the future. But let's see. But the biosecure bubble surely shakes one up. If any player is in there and not being able to get out of their rooms, it becomes really, really hard for them.
Yeah, England had an ODI series in South Africa before Christmas, and I think they were staying at Centurion in a camp there. And the trouble was that they weren't the people who were working in the restaurants and so on were coming in from outside the bubble every day. So it was very difficult to sort of really control it properly. We've done it in England with at the GS Bowl in Southampton and Old Trafford, Lancashire, Manchester. But life is so boring. I mean, at the GS Bowl, what's called the Rose Bowl, there's a golf course there for people to walk around. But the people, the commentators, the players at Old Trafford literally just had to sort of walk around the ground every day to get their sort of 10,000 steps a day. And I think they found that unbelievably boring. So, let's just pray that the world can get through this as soon as possible and that people can get vaccinated and we can get life back to normal, because the joys of touring are there to be experienced, not endured, I'm afraid.
True. Anyways, yes, you're right. Things are pretty tricky with regards to the COVID-19 situation. But But anyways, coming back to the South African lineup, obviously the series is still underway. Let's talk more on their bowling lineup to begin with. And by the way, our bowler Usman Qadir will be debuting today. He's been an amazing leg spinner. So let's hope that he manages to take a few initial wickets so that Pakistan can manage to stop South Africans to chase their target.
I can't wait to see him bowl. I knew his dad.
Nice.
Abdul, when he came to England in 2001, I was his ghostwriter for the Sunday Telegraph newspaper.
Nice.
So it was my joy to interview him during the play for each day and to put his thoughts on paper.
Awesome.
And he was a delightful man. So I'll be really rooting for him. And obviously I remember him bowling, of course, in the 80s against Mike Gatting's side and all that kind of thing. So, and then in England under Imran. So yeah, I'll be rooting for his son, definitely.
Yes, and even with regards to looking at his performance, because there were a lot of people who actually kind of focused more on pinpointing, stating that there's a lot of nepotism and stuff, but he has managed to perform super well in the Quaid-e-Azam Trophy. Not only that, he's actually proved his mettle on different grounds. But I think this debutant will actually make him being remembered in flying colours, and we just hope for the best.
Absolutely. And Imam Haq did the best, did a great job in refuting the nepotism claims himself, didn't he? So
right.
You could always turn to him for advice. But no, the best way of dealing with nepotism claims is to perform, isn't it? And
yes.
I hope he does.
It's always about performance at the end of it all. The point is, in my opinion, if someone is pursuing a talent and if someone has that talent, he or she will automatically shine. That is the true power of talent. What's your take on that?
Yeah, talent will shine through, won't it? When somebody's that good, we in England we found it's hard. I mean, Ian Botham's son Liam had a taste of playing cricket for Hampshire and did quite well in his opening few matches. But after a few games, he decided it wasn't for him, and he pursued a career in rugby instead and did very well. So, and now Ian Botham's grandson is in rugby playing for Wales. So. It's not for everyone, is it? Sachin Tendulkar's son is trying to make a way in the game. Viv Richards' son found it very difficult. So yeah, did you see also Mike Atherton's son has started playing in England now? He's playing for Leeds University, but he is in the Middlesex squad now. Mike Atherton's son, his name's actually not Atherton; it's De Keres. He's taken the surname of his mum.
Right.
So and he got 100 the other day. So. Yep, some live with the pressure and some don't. But no, we'll keep our fingers crossed for Usman.
For sure. All right, so what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and once we get back from break, we'll continue our conversation with regards to the current series that's underway, obviously Pakistan versus South Africa. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back guys from the break, and surely we're talking about the Pakistani cricket team actually managing to score 320 for 7 against South Africa. It's an interesting match. Why? Because of the fact that if we look back on the situation, how it really started, it was a very solid entry from the top order. But yet again, the major issue that Pakistani batsmen have always faced is that trickle-down effect. If you look back, Imam Haq scoring 57, not only him, Fakhar Zaman obviously made his second century in this match, which is super interesting. Babar Azam was on the last ball. He did try to score that century on 94, and he was caught. But anyways, still discussing this entire match that's underway. And Mr. Hugh, so what's your take on the current situation with regards to this, not only this match, if we talk about this match, obviously it's going to be very interesting because it's in Centurion, and I think the last time the score was different, and it was pretty much difficult for South Africans to make a bigger total. Now we have the biggest total on board for the ODIs. What's your take? How do you see it more evolving with regards to, is it going to be a spinner pitch, or how do you see, is it going to be a fast bowler's pitch?
Oh, you got me there, haven't you? For what I saw of the Pakistan innings, the spinners were struggling a little bit, weren't they? Actually, JJ Smith's struggled a little bit, didn't it? But that Maharaj had some joy. So, obviously, the spinners bowling early better for them. The spinners at the death of the innings struggled, didn't they? So, yeah, there seems to be a bit in it for everyone, really. South Africa were missing Nortje, weren't they, at the IPL?
Absolutely.
So that was a bit sort of a big loss for them, wasn't it? But no, I think I'd say, I don't know. I'm just sneaking fancy for Pakistan to win this one. But it is very close. It's sort of 51-49 or 50-50. But yeah, we'll have to see how they get on.
Yeah, even if I look at the live win probability right now, it's actually stating that there's a 75% chance that Pakistan will win and 25% chance that South Africa will win. But obviously, as soon as the match evolves,
their batting lineup.
As soon as
the South Africa batting lineup looks a bit sort of raw, doesn't it? The South African batting lineup is obviously no Faf du Plessis anymore, so it looks a little bit vulnerable, doesn't it? So, yeah.
It surely is going to be tricky for South Africans. And yes, as you mentioned, Nortje is missing. A lot of players from the South African squad are missing. It is going to be a big challenge for them. And I think if they manage to make a comeback or if they manage to catch up with the score, because if we look back into, if you remember that match, Australia versus South Africa, once upon a time when Australia managed to score 434 and South Africa actually managed to chase it. So it can be a super surprise. So we can hope for the best for them as well.
Amazing, wasn't it, that match? Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so about this ODI, let's talk about the T20 side, because I'd rather want the evolution of cricket that has actually happened from the times that you have, as you mentioned, you've had interviews with great cricketers out there. How do you see the sport itself evolving from how it was to what it is right now?
Well, I was there at the vanguard of T20 in 2003, and there was a lot of scepticism that it was going to be a winning format in England. A lot of county people were very upset about it, but it's obviously taken off now and is the sort of foremost format. Test cricket is fighting for its future, unfortunately. Most sort of commentators, unfortunately, fear Test cricket is going to become a sort of niche event, really, a sort of boutique event, really, in the future. Yeah, I mean, T20's just sort of massive now, isn't it? We've gone off in England with this curious new format called the 100, 16.4 overs, not 2020.
Right.
We'll have to see how that sort of gets on. I think the reason for that really is that they're looking to fit it into a 2.5 hour window to go on our national broadcast to the BBC, because of some of the IPL matches now are sort of taking 5 hours, aren't they? 4.5, 5 hours. So, yeah, it's essentially T20. So, yeah, unfortunately, it's not looking all that promising for Test cricket, which is my favourite format, and to me, still produces the most riveting cricket. But
yes, you're absolutely right. If we talk about Test cricket, I still believe that all the players who really want to polish their skills, who really want to outshine any specific, for instance, if someone has that spark for being a bowler, someone has the spark of being the batsman, he definitely has to go into the Test situation, because Test is the right format that would allow you to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, my memories of Pakistan cricket are mainly of Test cricket. I mean, that would be unfair to leave out the 1992 World Cup, of course, and Imran's cornered Tigers.
Right.
But no, I mean, I remember Javed Mayandad's 260 at the Oval in 1987, and the batting of Saeed Anwar and Amir Sohail, and Waqar and Wazim, Abdul Qadir, Umar Gul, Yunus Khan and Misbah, of course. So, yeah, for me, I'd be devastatingly sad if Test cricket was phased out. But the administrators just don't seem to sort of do that many favours with it at the moment. I mean, a lot of the county chief execs want 4-day matches, not 5.
Right.
And yet we've seen some amazing cricket on the 5th day of Test matches, and they really shouldn't sort of be tampering with it. But to me, I mean, what about that Test last summer at Old Trafford when Joss Butler and Chris Wokes had that partnership? I mean, that was cricket at its best, wasn't it?
Right. So that's the thing. Unfortunately, things have evolved and changed to a point that they're trying to make segments smaller and smaller. There's also a series I was watching the other day which only has 10 overs now. So I don't know what exactly are they doing as an experiment with cricket, but let's hope that the sport lives on and the sports moves on. Let's talk about the T20, the upcoming T20s. Of course, there are going to be 4 matches. For instance, if South Africa manages to win today, don't you think they will definitely have a stronger edge over Pakistan for the T20s?
Yeah, I think they'd have a bit of confidence from that, wouldn't they? And they'd also have home advantage, as you say. But anything can happen in T20. Pakistan haven't got a bad record in it, have they? So again, a close series, I think. South Africa have their sort of issues with selection, don't they? And they've lost so many great cricketers that I wouldn't feel pessimistic if I were a Pakistan fan.
Right. But, we also talk about the unexpectancy, because sometimes, there's a lot of unexpectedness that actually comes in both the countries, even if it's the Proteas or Pakistan.
Well, I just love the way Pakistan seam bowlers over the years have created something out of nothing, haven't they? Even going back to sort of 1992 and Wasim and Waqar and reverse swing. We've seen Hassan Ali or Pakistan seamers just turn a game on its head, don't they? In the Champions Trophy in 2017, they looked sort of dead and buried, and then sometimes you'd get a spell of 4 wickets in a fast bowling burst, and it would be a completely different game again, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. But yet again, obviously, all these cricketers who are actually now in the squad are definitely learning from their seniors. They're surely learning from their experiences, from the seniors' experiences, because that is, I think, how we all evolve as sportsmen as well. If they want to learn, they'll definitely look at the bowling stance of Wasim, Waqar, name it, and they have their own brilliance back then. So I think it's a complete learning process. Right now, I still think Pakistan has finally come up to a point of being that solid lineup, because we still had a lot of issues of the trickling down effect in the batting side. But I think slowly and gradually they're learning and trying to get there where they can actually stand tall and face the balls.
There's definitely more consistency in selection in Pakistan cricket these days, isn't there? With sort of less wild card selections and so on. And in Shaheen Shah Afridi, what a bowler he is!
Right.
Fantastic to watch with his 6'6" height, and he's the real deal, isn't he, in Test cricket and ODI.
Absolutely.
And white ball, yeah.
Anyways, Hugh, thank you so much for being a part of the show and discussing the world of cricket.
Can I just plug my cricketer magazine? It's our
Sure.
centenary at the moment. So yeah, we're 100 years old, and we've got a message from Isan Marnie in the new edition. So yeah, something to celebrate. 100 in cricket. Yeah.
Done. Thank you so very much, Hugh.
Thank you.
So that was Hugh, and obviously discussed the world of cricket. Not only that, we still have South Africa versus Pakistan, and there's so much more coming in because of the fact that the T20 lineup is also after this, which actually starts from the 10th of April. But anyways, let's focus on the current ODI that's underway. It's going to be the last ODI to discuss the fate of both the countries, either South Africa or Pakistan. Anyways, we'll switch over quickly to the world of football, and I would give you a bit of update. Yes, in the world of football, Real Madrid actually won against Liverpool on Tuesday. It was 3-1. Mohamed Salah actually managed to just score his first goal against Real Madrid. The sad part is that Liverpool is still trying and struggling, but the consistency is surely off. They still have a lot of issues, a lot of injuries that have actually brought them to where they are right now. But anyways, that was pretty much from the world of football. I'll have a quick word and update with regards to the NBA side. Yes, Warriors actually beat Bucks by 122 and 121 on Tuesday, and Steph Curry actually pulled 41 points in that match against Bucks. And this is how it works, because Steph Curry is obviously one of the strongest members that they have. Obviously, he's a living legend. Even he was also there on the race of MVP, not to forget. But anyways, that is how it works, and I think he manages to score solid points for his team, ensuring the victory. But anyways, this was pretty much it from the world of sports. If you guys want to reach out to us, you can on a social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.